Well, I have the owner's manual here for the car, the i8's owner's manual, and we were looking at the instructions for checking the coolant. In here, it says, if necessary, have the service center check the coolant level and add coolant as needed. So they don't really tell you where that is, do they? The truth of the matter is, it's underneath that bonnet. They don't really want you in there. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. Let's go ahead and pop this bonnet and see what's in there. I think this is going to be super fun. BMW doesn't want you under this bonnet so much that they didn't really put in a proper release for the car, but there is one that's kind of hidden, and here it is. It's underneath this flap. So we pull this down, this little flap, we open this cover. Do you see this guy here? This is the pull for the release for the bonnet. So you just pull this, and there you go. And it's released. The second trick to this opening of the bonnet here is that it really needs to be done with two people. So I have my lovely assistant, Heidi, over here. She's gonna help me. Now, when we push this up and we get it up all the way, there's two holes that line up in the hinge. You have to put a pin through it. So I'm gonna just use one of these short, stubby little screwdrivers. I think that's gonna work. And we'll lift it up and we'll lock it off and we'll see what's underneath. It sort of articulates. There it is. Do you see little holes?
I see a hole. All right.
That's it.
I think it's in there.
Okay, great.
Wow. It's very black.
It is. Now that we're in here, let's go ahead and poke around a little bit. I have a sneaky suspicion that this is our coolant reservoir. We've got coolant up to this mark here, but I think our coolant level should be somewhere around this center equator here on this little sphere. That looks pretty good. You're just looking for coolant, so that's great. And then forward of that, this is kind of interesting. These lines, I bet you, are the brake lines. And this looks like a distribution center here or something for the hydraulics, for the brakes. Very interesting, this. You just see so many interesting things in these cars. And on the other side of the car, this would be the left side of the car, is where we have the 12-volt battery. So this is just a normal battery, just like it would be on any car. Interesting fact about this battery is it gets charged from the normal charging port that we charge the car up with, or the big battery as well can charge this thing. You really don't need to put a tender on this car if you're going to store it for a long period of time. You just want to make sure that you've plugged it into the normal charging port, and it will take care of this battery for you as well. That's pretty cool. Over here, this looks like this is the brake fluid here, and there's a little mark here that says the brake fluid should be right about this level, and that looks good. There's a max line right up here. This says max right here, so we don't want to be above that line. And our min line is way down here. So our brake fluid is good on this car. It's about where it should be. These would be the top of the dampeners, because this has adjustable dampeners on it. So this would be the wiring for the dampers. If you can see down in there, and I'm not going to get any closer, a big, huge orange cable down there, and there's some wiring down in there. This is why BMW doesn't want you underneath this hood. There's some very dangerous parts under here and very high voltage. These systems run about almost 400 volts. You touch the wrong thing in there and you're going to get smoked. So be super duper careful. I don't want to even touch anything under there that I don't know exactly what it is. Now, there's another reservoir in here, and none of these reservoirs are actually labeled. My guess is this reservoir would be the power steering, but it just says consult the manual, and the manual is not going to tell you what it is. Without a service manual, I'm not really certain. I definitely wouldn't touch this unless I knew exactly what it is. This is going to be for your air conditioning recharge here. That's what that's for. So we have a big, huge cooling fan down here for the front radiator. In the front, we've got our light assemblies, one on each side here. Big plastic scoop, of course, to force air in. Or actually, it comes out that way. So the air goes through that fan, up and out this guy, and out over the top of the car. That's pretty much about it. There's really not much else underneath here. It's not some kind of big old monstrous mystery. They just don't want you in here because of the high voltage lines coming off the battery. Putting down the hood is pretty much just the reverse, but you want to still be very, very careful of a couple of things. We want to let it down with two people, and we want to make sure that it doesn't get tweaked on either side. That's one very important thing. The next thing is take note of where this latch is, because we're going to put our hand over the top, just like this when we go to set it when it's all the way down. All right, so here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to lift it up a little bit, get the pressure off of our screwdrivers down here, and then we're going to pull them out and drop the bonnet. Here we go. Up it goes, just a little bit. Okay, all right, our pins are out. Now we just lower it. Now remember, this is a bit of an articulating hinge here. It wants to go forward as well. So we just let it down carefully. All right, and set it back down onto its latch. Well, with it setting on its latch, we still have to latch it down. We're going to use our palm and we're going to push down until it clicks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Well, the bonnet is back down. Everything's fine. So that's kind of nutty, huh? Okay, well that is what's under the bonnet on an i8. Now they really don't want you in there because it's kind of scary. There's 400 volts in there. So if you ever do decide to pop this thing on your car, be super duper careful underneath there. Don't touch anything you don't know exactly what it is. But it's where our 12 volt battery lives and our fluid levels are under there as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions or comments or anything at all, go ahead and leave them down below and I'll get right to them. Special thank you as always to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, safe travels. Bye.